yeah, I find like when I do it in a comedic way, it's a lot softer. Like
Yeah.
you want to get the truth. You want the truth. Or at least I do. I want the truth. And
Mm.
sometimes when it's said like really harshly, it's too much to handle.
Yeah.
And when it's said with a joke, you're like, oh, that's true. And then you can have some reflection and it's not so hard.
Yeah. Hello and welcome back to episode 10, number 10 of a Woman Refined podcast. And as always, I'm your host, Lauren Renee. This month on the podcast, we have the funniest woman on the internet right now, Lisa Jane Spencer. You may have seen her doing some very funny, very poignant reels on Instagram. You may have known her as the woman who went to battle with Abby Chatfield over what is allowed to be funny and what isn't. Maybe you saw her feminist feud skit with Clementine and Abby and loved that too. Or maybe you're just a fan of her in general. Maybe you saw her Byron Bay and other areas of Australia like Nam, influencer reels, or you just love her comedy. Either way, I am so stoked that she has come on and we get to have a chat about what it's like to be a funny person in a very politically correct world and how she navigates that and what we think will kind of hopefully save the arts and comedy and humanity and how we think that's going to play out in the future. So if you like this podcast and you love this episode, I'd love to hear your feedback. Please let me know. You can send me a DM or you can email me at woodenrefinedpodcast@gmail.com. And if you really love it, I'd love for you to like it and share it with your friends and follow or subscribe wherever you're listening to this. We are on YouTube, Rumble, and everywhere you get normal audio podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc., etc. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining me once again. And I really hope you enjoy this episode. I loved recording it. And Lisa is a funny, funny woman. And I can't wait to see what she comes up with in the future. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. And I'll see you next month for more. All right. Lisa,
Hmm.
welcome to Woman Refined Podcast. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
It's so nice to actually meet you. We have not really chatted much before.
Mm.
I reached out to you after your recent Abby Chatfield controversy, so we say, because I was in a similar place a few years ago during the COVID times, and
Hmm.
made a parody video, and
Oh.
didn't get such nice reviews on that, but yeah, I have been following your stuff well before that. I loved all of your comedy that you've been doing online, and yeah, I thought let's have a chat with someone who I find funny, but also I find your position in political stuff and in just like the world in general to be very rare. And
Mm.
that is that you don't particularly sit with one side or the other. And I find myself in the same boat. And I quite enjoy that. But I also find it very hard to find people who are of the same ilk because people are very polarized these days.
Mm.
And so, yeah, I really enjoy your stuff. And I thought I'd reach out and have a chat. And I'm really grateful that you said, yeah, jump on. Why not?
Yes, that's great. Yeah, here we are.
Here we are.
Here we are.
Indeed. Indeed. Um, Can I ask
No,
what?
no.
Oh, excellent. All right. Well, thanks for joining me. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
See ya.
Um, I want to know like what started you doing like these reels, and I don't know if you're on TikTok. I don't have it, but like with TikTok,
Mhm.
Instagram, like what started you going? Okay, like I'm going to put myself out there in this kind of way. Were you doing like stand up in real life, or like I'm curious.
No, I wasn't doing stand up. Still haven't ever done stand up before, so I'll do that when I get to America.
Nice.
But yeah, I was doing music. So I was doing music for like 10 years And I just knew in my heart that social media was like a path that I wanted to explore. But I'd been trying it for like years, trying to put my music out there or whatever. But it was just, it felt so off. Like I just hated it. I hated posting on social media. I very rarely post on social media. But there was something inside me that was like, I I need to express myself here. Um, and yeah, I guess it was just like I need to express myself, and I don't feel like I have a platform in my life where I can do that. And social media felt like the thing. Um, so I kind of just started just expressing myself, just like emotionally there. And then it wasn't until last year, January, that I started to get these ideas to doing funny videos. And literally, I just started getting ideas, and it came from moving to Byron and just seeing all these things that I saw there. And one of the first things I noticed was like, why does everyone have baskets? Like, what, like, what is this? Like, no one told me.
You
Like,
didn't
no,
know
I
it's a
didn't know.
requirement.
Yeah, I didn't know. Like, I just got there. I'm like, hang on, is no one gonna mention that that everyone just has baskets? Like, where do these come from? Like, I couldn't even find the basket store. I mean, you could sometimes see them at like Santos or whatever, but I just didn't get it. And so then I saw that, and then I noticed the Loco Loves, and I was like, what are these like $6 chocolates? And why does like everyone always have one?
Yeah.
And then I finally tried it, and I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, they're delicious. I was the same. I kept seeing them on Instagram. People were like, oh, my partner got them for me for my birthday or my Valentine's. I was like, really? This tiny little chocolate? And you're like making this big deal, you're putting a post up about it. Like, it can't be that good. I was like, yeah,
It
no,
is.
pretty delicious.
Yeah. Well, I don't think when I was living in Melbourne, I never saw them. I've
Mm,
only just started to see them. So it was very much a Byron thing, like
yeah.
initially. Yeah, so then I started noticing all these things and I was like, huh, this is funny. And then I had an idea of just like making these funny Byron videos of like my first funny video was just I live in Byron, so I'm a tantric coach and blah blah blah. And like I was just doing that. And then the second one was the starter kit one, which was like, you've got your local love, blah blah blah. Um, and that was honestly where it came from, was like I just think it's funny. And I didn't think anything of it. I didn't think like, oh my God, this could be like a new thing that I do or a new
Mm,
career. I literally was not thinking that at all. I was just like, I I just have these funny ideas. Let's put them out there. And then I was just like very, very surprised when they started to blow up. I j- I literally I couldn't understand it, couldn't believe it. But it was kind of a bit crazy because like about 6 months before that, I have like a manifestation list
mm,
and I write them often. And I had written 6 months before that, I want a viral video on social media and 10K followers. And at the time that I wrote that, I had like 700 followers, didn't know it was possible, didn't even know why I wanted it, didn't know anything. I was just like,
mm.
that's just what I felt like I wanted. And I was kind of just testing the system and yeah, it worked.
Straight away. Boom.
Well, I mean, I guess it was like a long time coming because I think um I have felt like I wanted to have a platform where I felt like I could express myself,
Mm,
but I just didn't know how to do that. And and then the comedy or the humor came just like very authentically. I didn't ever think of myself being funny, having funny ideas.
mm.
I just didn't, but something about it was like resonating with what I needed to express out into the world. Yeah.
Yeah. I saw those first videos. Like that's how long I've been following. I thought they were hilarious. Like they got sent to me because half my friends live in Byron and I think what people are really craving is authenticity. And so when you're pointing out things that are true, people are like, "Oh, you're telling the truth." Like, "Oh, it's a bit edgy. It's a bit like it's funny
Mm,
because it's true."
mm.
There's funny when it's not true, but then there's funny because it's true. And the fine line that you walk with funny because it's true, I think, is that people get really triggered.
Oh my God, they get so triggered. It's
You're really attacking their identity because those kind of
yes.
people who get so triggered, they don't really have that sense of separation from like who they are versus what they do and who they surround themselves with and
Mm,
where they live and their actions. Everything's so intertwined and enmeshed that there's no sense of self there. That when you make fun of an idea, like a generalized idea, where it's like Byron, which is really
mm,
like inverted commas Byron, it's like
mm,
not even very specific. And people just get so triggered by it because it is true. Like
mm.
everybody knows that stereotype for a reason. But I can imagine the hate that would have come along with like people going, this is hilarious. And I got to share it with all my friends.
To be honest, like I didn't notice that much hate from the ones I did for Byron. I felt like the Byron community was a lot more able to laugh at themselves.
That's
Like this,
great.
yeah, like the spiritual community generally can laugh at themselves really easily. But when I've hit on some other communities, say the more Melbourne ones, they've been way more triggered.
The Nam. I didn't even know Melbourne was called Nam because I don't live in Victoria. And I was like, what do you mean Nam? Where's Nam? I had to look it up.
Oh,
Okay.
exactly, exactly. Yeah. But it is that thing, people like, and I've been really thinking about this a lot, like why why do people get so triggered? And
Mm,
there's so much to unpack with it. And, especially because when I see them get triggered or when I see the comments, then it can sometimes really trigger me and then I have
mm,
to do a whole thing with it. But a lot of it, now that I'm learning more about it, is that I'm threatening their ideas and their beliefs. And if they've got identity with those things, which we do, we tend to identify with our beliefs rather
yeah.
than who we are.
Mm,
And I think that's what happens if I start poking on those false beliefs or those narratives that they have their whole identity wrapped up in, which could mean also friendships, it could mean
mm,
relationships, it could mean communities, it could mean jobs, it could mean anything that they've got
yeah.
attached to that identity. That is fucking threatening. I
Yeah.
get it. And then they respond. If someone is threatened, then they go in there, it could be that fight, flight, freeze. So they either attack me, they either send their hatred, they either unfollow me, they either send me emails, they either do all the things or say something passively aggressively, or
Mm,
they just go cold, or whatever the thing is. They go in their pattern of when they're threatened.
mm.
And it's very hard to like separate all their stuff and realize, hang on,
It's not about you.
it's not about me, it's
Yeah.
them. I've really triggered them and
Yeah.
it's yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because I have come myself, like I came from a very different environment into a new kind of environment through like the COVID transition
Hmm.
and through political beliefs or spiritual beliefs or just societal beliefs that I have that kind of evolved and grew at the time. um, or by sticking to certain beliefs that were originally one side and then got put to the other side. And
Yep.
so, I went from being what was perceived as like extremely left leaning, like a hyper liberal hippie person to suddenly like a right wing extremist. Yet I didn't, at that point, I hadn't really shifted anything. And
Mm,
that really was like a wake up call for me, being like, oh, this is like identity politics, like on crack. Like when people feel threatened, it's the attack mode is, I'd never really seen it so personal before, like from
Mm,
even like people I knew or people I didn't know. It's a bit scary in those ways because you're like, wow, like I don't even know you. Like
mm,
this is a stranger on the internet. And like I had people, with certain things that I was talking about, especially during COVID, I had people threatening me online and saying,
wow.
like I'm going to find you, or I know where you live, or things like that. And it was like, it was a bit scary. It was
Yeah.
like, oh, okay. I don't know you and I'm not talking to you. I'm not talking about you specifically. Like, this
Yeah.
is not me attacking you. I'm just like, I was doing the same as you. I was making funny reels. I was making lots of funny reels,
I love that.
just I was trying to bring like light to the situation, I guess. Like,
Yeah.
how can I use this algorithm that's just kicked off? Like, reels have just kicked off, and these trending audios that everybody is copying. And I'm just going to use it to like drop in some information. I'm going to use this audio that everyone's doing about, like, I don't know, they might be doing it about me and my sister or whatever. And I'm just going to make it about something else and
Mm.
just see if I can get it into the algorithm, but make it funny. Like, it doesn't have to be so serious. It could just be funny.
Mm.
And yeah, the backlash was, like I did the same thing. I ended up getting like 7K followers in a very short amount of time. And then Instagram capped me and took away all my followers and shadow banned me and all
No
the fun stuff.
way.
Oh yeah. Like there was a point where I had 7,000 followers and got 30 views on a story, and you couldn't find me if you
Wow.
searched my name. You had to like put in all of the entire specific thing, and then you had to press enter. It wouldn't even come up as the suggestion. You had to press enter, and then it would be like 5 people down. you
Wow.
couldn't you couldn't at me because it would say this person posts dangerous information. Are you sure you
Holy
want to at them?
shit.
I had all the, like, if someone tried to follow me, like, do you really want to follow this person? They post hate speech. Like, I'm just making funny reels, man. That's
Um,
literally like all I'm doing here.
it's
And
wild.
yeah, it was pretty crazy. I'd get like 100 new followers, and then I'd lose 100 new followers. It was like, okay, it wouldn't let me get past 7K. So it was really interesting. And then I kind of shut that down and ended up with my account that I'm on now, the Woman Refined. I was like, okay, I'll
Mm,
leave that stuff alone for a little bit. Like, it's done now. So I'll start afresh. But then,
mm.
doesn't matter where I go. Apparently I'm into controversial topics. Apparently I have internalized misogyny now. So
Oh, do you have some Scorpio in you? Is that?
I have my Mars is in Scorpio.
Yeah, yeah, this makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I have a stellium in Aquarius. So, I'm
Oh,
kind of used
oh,
to just
okay.
being outside of the box a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. It's so interesting. I was thinking about this yesterday. During COVID, I was in a different place
Mm,
to where you were and also where I am now. And I was living in the heart of Melbourne with a
yeah, it's
partner.
scary.
Yeah, but I didn't know myself. I didn't hear myself. I was listening to everyone else around me but
Mm,
me. And I didn't know what the truth was. All I knew was don't listen to the news. That's all, because it was just too much for me.
yeah.
Um, all of it was too much for me. I hated yeah, it was shit with the police and all that. But what I didn't hear was what to do with the vaccination.
Mm,
I didn't have anyone around me that was speaking up about it. All I heard were the loud voices around me that were saying, "Just get it,
yeah.
it's fine." And so I didn't hear the voices that perhaps
Yeah.
you were speaking from, and I wish I did. I wish I did hear that, and maybe I yeah, I definitely would have had a different experience, I think. But yeah, I had a choice. So my brother was getting married kind
Mm,
of during that time, and he lives in Germany, and the only option for me to go there was to get vaccinated.
yeah.
And so I wasn't, I just didn't know what the other option was. So I
Yeah.
got vaccinated and it was totally fine. Like I've not had any
Side
health
effects.
whatever,
Yeah.
which is fine. Um, but years later, maybe a year later, I started waking up to all of that stuff.
Mm,
And I felt s- I started to hear my own inner voice,
Mm.
and it was a big wake up call, huge wake up call, because I realized, hang on, I didn't believe in any of that. I didn't want to get the vaccination. I I thought that was completely controlling, and I hated the way it happened.
Mm.
Um, and I felt so almost like violated
Yeah.
and lied to,
Yeah.
and it was a harsh reality as well, because then I came up to Byron and a lot of people were like, "Oh, I don't date vaccinated people." And I was like, "Yeah, fuck you. I get it, but
Yeah.
you know, whatever." But it taught me a big valuable lesson in that your voices, when you're in that controversial
Mm.
thing, even though it's so hard to speak the truth, you bloody have to.
Yeah.
Because there are people that are surrounded, or they don't know their own voice yet, or whatever. And so if they come across your stuff, they're going to be like, "Oh shit, okay." And then it wakes up their own, truth.
Yeah.
Um, and it's worth pissing people off.
Yeah.
It's
I had
worth
people
it.
every day that would say to me, thank you for saying something I can't. Or because
Yes.
I work in healthcare, or I work in emergency services and I've got like a fake passport, like I can't say anything, but I'm so glad that you do.
Mm.
And to be honest, like there's a part of it that really pissed me off where I was like, you know what? If we all just spoke up, it wouldn't be so bad, you know?
Yes. Yes.
I'm glad that
Agreed.
you all are happy for me to take the flack. Um,
Yeah.
but I also like there's two sides to it. I also understand those situations. And I understand situations like yours as well, where people felt like they had no choice, and also where people just didn't know. I have a lot of respect for people who went and got the vaccine because they genuinely thought it was the right thing to do. And they didn't
Mm.
know that there was another option. They were just like, well, that's what we should do because it's the right thing to do. And I think it's going to help. Like, I have a lot of respect for that. It's more the people who didn't want to get it and they're like, oh, I don't really want to get it. I don't really believe in it, but I really want to go to the pub. That
Yeah.
shit really pissed me off. I was like, come on, man.
Integrity, right?
Yeah. And that's
Yeah.
like a high value for me. But I like for me, COVID wasn't what woke me up. So I was kind of aware of all that stuff, like governmental corruption and the lies beforehand. Um, so when COVID came along, it kind of felt like all of us who were doing that stuff beforehand were like suddenly like pushed to the front lines. Like you guys know what you're doing, right? I was like, sure, okay.
Mm.
And yeah, it's crazy though, because it's been like the best and worst thing that ever happened, I think, to society.
Mm.
Because you're so right. It really like it helped a lot of people wake up to like sleepwalking through life, thinking that, the government wouldn't do that,
Mm.
or that people they love wouldn't lie to them, or that there's a lot of people that still think everything is really la-di-da, like nothing can hurt them, or that wouldn't happen to me, that kind of situation. And when a lot of people had bad things happen to them, whether they were like driving and got pulled over, or they weren't allowed to see their dying
Mm.
parents or grandparents, they weren't allowed to go to weddings or funerals, and all of these things that suddenly affected them personally. It When you make things personal for people, it's a real like tipping point for a lot of people where it's like, oh, it's suddenly you have to kind of come back to that inner voice,
Mm.
and you have to kind of be like, what do I want here? And it can take a really long time. Like, I don't think there's very few anti vaxxers. And this is what I'll say about this. Like, very few people are genuine anti vaxxers. 99.9% of the people are ex vaxxers who used to vaccinate, and I'm one of them,
Mhm.
and then had an injury myself and kind of woke up to, oh, there's a whole other side to this I wasn't aware of.
Mm.
And that's usually what happens. Like, some people have to get pushed to the point where you're injured, or you lose someone you love, or your baby dies, or whatever. And then you're like, well, I get forced into this camp.
Mm.
But it's those people that kind of yeah, to speak to speak out when it's not popular, but to do it anyway, I think is like such an integral part of society. Like, I think that people have done that throughout time immemorial. There
Hmm.
have always been really unpopular views, and sometimes they went really well, and sometimes they did not, i.e., Hitler. Like he was saying
Yeah.
some wild shit that I hear a lot of people repeating today. I'm like, that sounds very similar, you know. But
Yeah.
there are some things that like, I think, what's the saying that it goes like, there never think that a few people can't start a revolution, because it's always been what has. It's always been a few people that ended up being a few more, and then a few more, a few more, and then eventually a revolution came and things changed because of just a few people who had the balls to like speak up in the first
Mm-hmm.
place and to do the unpopular thing and to do the thing that's going to get them made fun of in society, and that's online right now, and
Mm-hmm.
cop that hate and cop that flack from everybody. And it's so easy to be on the popular side, to be like, I'm going to go with the crowd and like go against this person, even if you know nothing. And I'm sure that you've experienced this recently with the Abby stuff. Like, probably, like, I had a few of her followers, like, they come for you.
Oh God, I would say
They're vicious.
they are the most vicious people I have experienced on the internet.
It's
And
scary
and
how
they
vicious.
target you for a long time. Like I
Yeah.
still get their comments. They targeted me mostly on TikTok. That's where they
Mm,
mostly went for me. I don't know why, whether it's because they're younger, maybe
mm,
they are the younger generation, or perhaps because I don't have a larger following on TikTok that maybe they think I'm more vulnerable there or something.
mm.
I can't decide which one it is because they're always anonymous anyway, or they're always like a random profile picture and whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, they are probably the worst. The worst to
Yeah.
piss off. It's And it's, I think I hit the nail on the head with them because when I was, because I made fun of the Northside Melburnians, which are like the lefties,
Mm,
and Abby Chatfield's the crew. And I
mm.
think they double over. So I just like hit them twice, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's you're hitting the representation of them in their social media. So like, these people will never have the balls to actually be in the public eye like you and Abby are, right? Then they're never going to have the balls to actually stand up and do what you guys are doing and take a hard stance and opinion. So they pick a representative. And I did a podcast a couple of years ago now. I went on someone else's podcast and they asked me, like, we were talking about Andrew Tate.
Hmm.
And I was saying, he's like a cult leader, and Abby, I would say, is very similar in that characteristic. So like,
Hmm.
it's, they gather people using very broad language that then gets more niche and more niche and more niche. But people pick them as like, oh, you're my representative. You believe saying the same things that I believe. And so when you say something, that's like me saying something. And if someone's attacking you, that's like them attacking me. And now
Yeah.
I have to defend you. And I can defend you more than you can defend yourself, because no one actually knows who I am.
Mm.
And I'm like this faceless person on the internet, and it's not going to come back on me. But I feel like I've been personally attacked, even though you didn't say anything about that. But they identify with their representative so much that they feel emboldened to come and spew the very hate that they feel offended by, which is
Mm.
wild.
Mm. Yeah, well, I guess it comes back to like when you have someone who's speaking a particular thing that other people don't feel like they can say out
Mm,
loud, then of course that's their voice
yeah,
being hated on or whatever.
yeah.
Yeah, it's it's an
And
interesting one.
the thing is your stuff is like comedy as well. Like, it's not even,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? You're not even there wanting to debate people, or like, going after someone in particular because you're like really vehemently disagree with who they are. You're like, it's just funny. It's just, I just want to make a funny video because it's funny because it's true type situation.
Yeah. I think yeah, I find like when I do it in a comedic way, it's a lot softer. Like
Yeah.
you want to get the truth. You want the truth. Or at least I do. I want the truth. And
Mm.
sometimes when it's said like really harshly, it's too much to handle.
Yeah.
And when it's said with a joke, you're like, oh, that's true. And then you can have some reflection and it's not so hard.
Yeah.
I think my parents have been pretty good at that. Like they are very, very funny in their own way. But they will do like those, they'll just, I call my mum because her name's Glennis. I call her Glennis the Menace because she is absolutely a menace. Like she'll
It's
just like
amazing.
say something and you're like, oh my God, like just absolutely cutthroat, but just like hilarious.
Well, there was that study that came out recently, and they said that like friends who put each other down are 300% more loyal and better friends or something like that. I was like, yeah, because that's you don't want to. This is the like the whole situation that we're in right now with like society where everyone's tiptoeing around each other. No one wants to offend anybody. Everyone's got to be so politically correct. Comedy's dead because you can't say any like
Mm.
that was the whole point of comedy was to point out all of societal flaws and like make fun
Yeah.
of it. So we could be
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, I do that. That's I should probably stop that. But that's also hilarious that I do it. And so do like 15 other people in the crowd, you know? And
Yeah.
now we can't do that anymore. But actually, as humans, we need it. We
Yeah.
need that laughter. We need to make fun of each other. We need to like have that soft kind of like poke to be like,
Yeah.
hey, just look at yourself a little bit, look at yourself, and it's okay to laugh at yourself. Like,
Yeah.
no one's perfect. Like, you're not there going, by the way, I have all the answers.
By the way, I am perfect, guys.
Just so you
So
know.
I'm definitely not. All my stuff is out there. Like you can see my triggers, my shadows, my flaws. Well, at least I think people can see it, but I'm definitely not perfect. But I was gonna say with the comedy stuff, I yeah, I think people forget that it is an art form.
Yeah.
It's art. And what is art for? Art is for expressing what we can't, what we seem to not be able to express
Mm,
in kind of spoken word or to normal conversation or to each other, or maybe we can't even express it to ourselves. And it comes out through art, whatever
mm,
that platform is. And so comedy is just another art form that people don't realize is a way for the comedian to kind of, I don't know, like process their life.
mm,
And like dark humor, for instance, no one just comes up with dark humor just to piss people off. It's
mm.
because they've got darkness that they're trying to process and they're processing it through making light of it.
Yeah.
It's it's fucked up, obviously, but it comes from a dark place because we experience darkness
Yeah.
and that's life. And life isn't all fucking airy fairy even though we want it to be. It's not. And the depth is there, and people don't want to see it, but it's fucking there. And it's okay to laugh about it.
Yeah. I totally agree. I think you need to laugh about it though, because if you're so serious about stuff all the time,
Mm,
it becomes like people just tune out. Like you can't actually absorb information in as for information's sake all the time.
hmm
There's a reason that like you get programmed so easily through entertainment.
mm,
It's that you access certain parts of the brain. It's like everybody who wants to learn something, they like make it into a song. You'll be
yeah.
able to remember it, you know, that you hack that part of the brain through pleasure, through joy. Like the song is actually activating the pleasure centers. Laughter activates the pleasure centers. So you're actually able to take that information on board way better when you're enjoying it.
hmm
So if you can do that, like that's where the art form really comes in, like finding that balance between saying really important societal reflexive like viewpoints and making people enjoy that moment. If you're just like, hey, you guys are doing this thing and it's like possibly dangerous or like it's really hypocritical and you should know about that, people are just like, oh, well,
Yeah,
like
everyone
I'm
be
not going to.
like, everyone be like, look at your own stuff.
Yeah, 100%. deflect. I'm
Yeah,
not engaging in that. But if you make it funny, like, and look, funny is subjective. Everyone's going to find different things
exactly.
funny, and that's okay. But you can look at someone's. Oh, I hate when Zoom does that. I put my hands up and it goes, "Oh, you want to speak?" Um,
Oh, the thumbs up one, that's my
yeah,
favorite one.
but yeah, like, you can look at something, and even if you don't find it particularly funny yourself, you can see that someone's got the intention of trying to make it funny. Like, this is someone who's making a joke out of it. This is not someone who's like getting on the internet and telling us how to be because they think, I mean, that's what I do now, but telling you how to be because they think that's how you should be. Um, but, I think the comedy element is important.
Mm. It's fun. It's a fun way to live life. I enjoy it.
Yeah. How boring to take things seriously all the time.
Yeah, yeah. I think a sense of humor is literally the best thing. If you can't laugh at things, I don't know, that would be pretty sad.
Or if the only thing that you can laugh at is when you put down other people, equally, equally sad. Like the people who just rip shit on people because because this is the thing with life, right? It's like that, the light and the shadow.
Mm,
You've got a healthy version of comedy, and then you got like an unhealthy version of comedy where people will want to hurt somebody. The intention is to hurt someone, but then they will make it funny.
mm. It's
So
a
it's
fine
like,
line.
yeah.
It's a fine line. And and that's the thing, like intention is everything. It is everything. Um, and I think it takes a bit of looking at yourself because because I often will point at things and make fun of it, but it's not necessarily like the person that I'm making fun of or like that I'm trying to put them down.
Mm,
It's more like, hey, these things that you're doing are kind of funny, or there's some contradictions here. Like, that's
mm.
funny. Your contradictions are funny. And also, I have many contradictions. And this
Yeah.
is a human thing, but it does take some self-reflection to be like, okay, this thing I'm making fun of, do I also have that thing that I'm making fun of? Yes, because if I can see it out there, then it's in here too.
That almost makes it funnier. You're like, oh my
Yeah.
God, I do that too. 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. It's it's a very interesting one. Okay, I've been thinking about this a bit because of this new anti-vilification social cohesion law in Victoria that's
Mm.
come in, and it's going to come in September. That's when it's fully coming in. Um, but yeah, it's pretty wild. I'm going to be honest. It's the strongest law on speech that we've ever had.
So
And
what's that mean for someone like you?
so essentially it's now like we still have these laws with like race and religion that
Hmm.
you like you can't be like hateful towards these attributes in someone,
Hmm.
but now they've added sex, gender identity, disability, um, sexual sex characteristics, and maybe something else, which is a large amount of people. And they've made it online as well, in person and online. And basically, it's like anyone that feels hated or has feels they've been harmed by someone's words could send in a complaint. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's deemed as hateful? Just like how you interpret it.
Well, yeah. So they would have to send in a complaint, but it's very easy to send in a complaint. And I think if enough people did it, they'd probably look into it. They might, I don't know. Yeah, but then there's also like a clause like it's not gonna protect everyone equally. Like even though it says sex, like both genders, supposedly there's like a clause where they're gonna take in consideration somebody's attributes that perhaps have historical oppression. Yeah. So it means it's gonna like the white man is probably gonna be fucked, basically,
It's gonna be like
because
England. Yeah, they're arresting
Yes.
everyone for Facebook posts.
Yeah. So I don't know.
That's scary.
Yeah. So there's like a civil aspect to it and then a criminal side. So the criminal side's not coming into effect until next year, but the civil is coming in September if it goes ahead, but looks like it will. But they do have an exemptions, and the exemptions are like artistic work, academic work, uh, some other things. But, you know, they're pretty good exemptions. But the exemption is like reasonable and in good faith. So if there's like a comedian that is making fun of, like, say, for instance, like I've made some ADHD jokes. It's very easy to make fun of it.
Yeah.
But you know, not that I have many people that in my life that have ADHD, so it's not like I
Well,
hate them or
they've expanded the definition of ADHD, so pretty much everyone in
e-
your life has
exactly.
ADHD. It's
That's
everyone
what
now.
exactly. And so when I even saw that disability attribute, I was like, isn't everyone disabled at this point?
Everybody.
Like,
Yep. 100%. You're like,
yeah,
I'm actually offended and
yeah,
feel like vilified that you don't get my comedy because I'm disabled.
literally. But under the disability thing, it says like PTSD. I'm like, hasn't everyone had that?
You lived in Melbourne during
Yeah.
COVID.
We
Absolutely qualifies for
we
PTSD.
all have PTSD. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, it's an interesting one. So, but yeah, under it says like the exemptions are like fair and in good faith. So it means they're going to have to look if a comedian gets a complaint for saying some sort of joke that's against any of those attributes,
Mm.
which it'll be, you know, if they say like a gay joke or a trans joke or a ADHD joke, which is very common because
Yeah.
it's funny. And yeah, they could get targeted and then they might get looked at, and then their work is going to have to be considered. Is this in good faith, or is this a comedian just trying to tear these people down and using comedy as a way to do that? And it is a fine line, and I think it's like the comedian is making fun of those things
Mm.
because there is like some um reasonable like critique of it,
Mm.
you know? It's
But who gets to decide that? Like what's
yeah.
the panel? Is there a DEI like for the panel? Do you actually are there actual comedians? But even then, you look at what happened with Nate Flogg during COVID, and he was like banned from all these venues because he was making like COVID jokes and vaccination jokes. And then, he got banned from a whole bunch of things by all the comedy like
Yeah, wow.
people. They were the comedy community kind of like ousted him.
Yeah.
So even if they did have just comedians on there to decide that, or just artists to decide that, it's like they've still got biases as well. And then
There's
how do you
yeah.
how do you I mean, how do you navigate that? So it's a really,
It's messy. It's
yeah,
really messy, and then it yeah, it's just so messy, and it could go like if you allow this, if we allowed this that they can control speech, then they're just going to add more attributes.
yeah,
Maybe they'll add political views in there. And
yeah.
now you can't speak and have a different opinion. Like
It's
those
communism.
yes, it is. Early stages.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's pretty fucked.
It's so funny being in Australia and watching all of this stuff happen, because people just don't care, or they don't think it affects them. Like Australians are very like, nah, she'll be right, mate, about the world. Most Australians have no idea like who is even the prime minister or who
That's
their
so true.
premier is. Like they've just not, like, you look at America, everyone's like super engaged in their politics there. Everyone's there. They know what the latest bill that is coming in. They know who the senators are. They know who's on the floor. It's
Yeah.
like I know it. I'm not even in the country,
Mm,
It's crazy compared to how much lack of interest, lack of knowledge that we have about our own politics. And it's just so easy to watch like soft communism just be
soft launched.
yeah, into Australia. And
Yeah.
it's just with zero resistance.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there was no ability to have any resistance because they just passed the law. Like
Yeah.
there was no vote on
Yeah.
it. Obviously, it wasn't a referendum, which is when the public votes.
Yeah.
It was just put in by Labor and supported by the Greens.
Yeah.
So that's that. I have no doubt that if they put that as a public vote, a referendum, um, I would say like 80% of the population would be against it, if not more.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you don't, yeah, I don't know. I don't think, I think very few people would be all for it, and all be in the center of Melbourne.
Or they'd all be in every center of every city. That's
Yes,
the thing.
true,
It's
true.
there's very few people in Greater Australia who have those kind of views, and it's an echo chamber,
Mm,
and it's the loudest echo chamber because they have the most contact with technology. So they
yeah.
think that it's a lot bigger than what it actually is. It's like, what happened in the States with Trump, and people are like, oh my God, he won the popular vote. Like people were just, all the liberals were so in their own world in the middle of the cities, just going, what? What do you mean? It's like 89% of our country like voted for what? They couldn't believe it. They had no idea. They genuinely were
Mm,
living in their own bubble, had never really reached outside of that and get that shock of their lives. But this is
mm,
when you play politics based on a minority, it's it's an issue. You've now affecting a whole country based on a very small but very loud
mm,
minority.
mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
people who, we're too nice in Australia, I think.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. This is
if
what I've been
someone,
saying. We're too tolerant. Like,
yeah,
just step up.
yeah.
Just
And if
stop
someone's like,
allowing
hey,
it.
that's offensive, you're like, oh, sorry, I didn't want to offend anyone. Nah, man, it's all cool. Like, no problem here, mate. I didn't want to start a fight. Hey, I was just being funny, whatever. People, it's just like every political conversation that is on a large scale is such a macrocosm of like a pub in Australia
Mm.
where some two blokes have had like a little blue. They're like, no, mate, it's cool. Don't worry about it, brother. it's
Yeah,
it's wild. Like in the States, you get shot if someone's offended.
it's very true. That's the thing. I mean, this is gonna be grim, but I was speaking to my friend yesterday, and we were talking about a little bit of this, and I was like, yeah, like if we had guns, it would be different. Like, because if someone said something shit, it's like, well, you could be offending someone who has a fucking gun,
Yeah.
you know?
But then the person who said it could be like, I said what I said.
Exactly.
you
Exactly.
know
Yeah.
then
True.
you really, well, it forces you to back what you say and back your own opinions, and you got to really think like, am I just going to be offended for
Is
the
it
sake of
worth
being
it?
offended? Yeah.
Yeah.
Or am I going to be like, that was so offensive, and this person's like, is it worth coming at me right now because I have a
Yeah.
weapon? Or are you just going to be like, okay, it was kind of funny, I'm a little bit offended, but it's not that big of a deal, I'm going to walk away
Yeah.
from this situation.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
there's good and bads to the Second
100%.
Amendment.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But
I
it's
mean,
very consequenceless in Australia in terms of like false accusations, in terms
mm,
of like, I know there's stuff going on at the moment in Melbourne with like the youth crime, like through the
mm,
roof youth crime.
I didn't know nothing about it.
Ah, oh, yes, there's a creator. I love this kind of stuff. It's content creator that I follow. Um, Carl's J Soda, I think her name is.
Mhm.
Probably got that wrong, but Carly is her name, but she's just a photographer in Melbourne, and she's had like her house broken into, her car broken into, like all of this stuff, and she's been really exposing it and talking about how you know they just get let off
Mm,
time and time again, and they just reoffend. and then they just get
Mm.
let off and reoffend. It's like there's just no consequences for actual bad behavior. But
Mm.
yet, online, you hurt my feelings is like jail, straight to jail.
Go to jail.
Yeah.
Do not pass go.
100%. It's this inversion that's happening. It's where like people are like physically harming other people. It's like, no, don't worry. I'm sure that you've got some kind of disability or some prejudice against you, or, you know, your skin is slightly tan today. And so I'm sure we can let you off, whatever it may
Your
be.
great grandmother was
Yeah. you, you know, you came out of the womb and you were one sex and then you decided not to be, or you were the same sex. And, because you are a woman, then you get away with, a heap more stuff, whatever it may be. It's,
yeah.
it's, all of that stuff is excusable. But if someone hurts your feelings,
Mm.
it's so much more serious. Like it's
Mm.
crazy. Like I remember starting to use the word retarded again.
I love the word retarded, but
Yeah.
you probably won't be able to say that.
Yeah. Well,
That'll be on the disability list.
but
We
the
won't be.
thing is, it's academic because I'm talking about people who've had literal retardation of their brain. Your brain has stopped developing. If you are offended by the word retarded, you have not grown past the point of understanding comedy. So sorry about that.
Sorry about your retardation.
Yeah. Only your brain could continue to grow. Like, but people get so over it. Like, you can't say that. You can't say retarded.
I remember I made a joke about being a retard. Um, I think it was just a video. I was like, "Have you ever thought that maybe you're just retarded?" And
Yeah.
that was it. And I just had so many people being like, "You can't use that word." Like,
Yes, I can.
just
And I did.
I was like, "That's what makes it funny though,"
Yeah,
because I'm saying it.
exactly. But literally, like, have you ever like thought that maybe my brain stopped growing at some point and
Literally, have
I've
you ever
just
thought that?
probably not because your brain stopped growing because you're actually retarded. Retarded people don't think that they're retarded.
But yeah, maybe. Well, maybe. I don't know.
It's like you don't know you're dumb, you know?
Yeah, yeah, that's
Or
true.
narcissists never question if they're narcissists. Everyone else is always a narcissist. It's always, you just never know what
Yeah,
you actually are.
yeah. We're just everything, literally everything that you could possibly be, we are.
Yeah.
It's grim, but it's true in some way or another.
Yeah. I don't even know where we go from here. I think, I mean, like, unless we have some kind of massive counterculture revolution like the
Mm,
States has had.
I mean, it's
I feel
yeah,
like we follow England and we follow the States. Like, we don't really have
yeah,
our own identity. We don't really have our own personality. We don't have a history or really a culture that much. Slight culture. It's just drinking.
yeah,
We don't, and tall poppy syndrome. That's the other thing we have.
yeah,
But we follow one or the other. And it's like right now they've really gone in two opposite directions. And I don't know which way we're going to end up.
yeah. Well, there's also Canada as well, and
Yeah.
Canada Canada has had these similar anti-vilification laws for like actually a long time. Like I don't know, like maybe over 10 years or something.
Oh,
Like they were one of the first to put it in. I don't know, that timeline could be off, but they've had it for a long time. And then the UK had put it in, and now us are coming in, but not Australia wide, but it can affect other states. Um, but yeah, I think we are kind of somewhat following Canada and UK,
mm.
which is,
It's not looking
yeah,
great. They're
not
not in a
looking great.
great position.
Not looking great. Not looking great. But yeah, I don't know. I'm going to be off in America in about 10 days, so fuck it.
Just leave us here. See ya.
Yeah.
Are you gonna stay there?
Um, no to the customs. The customs, I am definitely coming back. Definitely coming back. I have so much here that I'm coming back to. I will never overstay my visa. Um, yeah, so no, for now I've just got like a 6 month visa.
Yeah.
But if I can get like
Married.
a if I can get married, if I can get I was gonna say like what do you call it, an agent, or if I get some stupid job. But I'm hoping for the either married or agent. That would be probably the best option.
Yeah.
Um, and then I could stay longer. But
Then you can
yeah,
say what you want
exactly.
at the moment for at least the next 4 years.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But yeah, I just feel like it feels like a much better place to explore comedy than here, especially like my options were kind of limited here.
Yeah.
In Melbourne, it's like very lefty, at all the comedy clubs.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just felt like a bit insecure about like starting here and saying the jokes. But and then up in Byron, like there's not that much comedy up there.
Mm.
Um, I didn't want to move to Sydney, so
Solid choice. Sydney's pretty crap.
so yeah, like the options, and I think with Australia, there is like this almost like glass ceiling,
Hmm.
and yeah, the tall poppy thing.
Yeah.
So I just want to go to a place where they actually celebrate talent and you know and
Yeah.
whatever.
Well, that's like America's ethos is to celebrate greatness. Like
Yeah.
you being the best that you can be and achieving your dream. Like, well done.
Yeah.
That's the dream. Good for you. And here
Yeah.
they're like, how dare you? How dare you? It's
How dare
offensive.
you? How dare you? I can't do that. So why
Why
should
should
you?
you?
Don't you
100%.
dare. And that's like what's happening. I swear to God, that is what's happening in our politics. Is like, well, you could do this thing. No, you can't because I can't do it because I've got all this stuff back here, all this trauma or all this blah, blah,
Hmm.
blah. And you shouldn't be able to do that.
Yep. We should all be as slow as the slowest retard that we have.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Um, well, I think, look, if Kanye can tweet what he's tweeting right
He is
now,
off the rail. He's
you'll be fine over there.
Oh my God. I love his music, but he needs
Some
help.
psychiatric assistance.
He needs some help. Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah.
I saw some stuff that he tweeted last night where we were sleeping this morning. I was like, he's he's on something.
Hmm.
It's yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. I don't know it's yeah, it's pretty wild. How this even happens, what triggers it? I guess, yeah, I don't know.
Well, there's the fine line between like genius and insanity, right? And like all great artists,
True.
whether it's musicians or painters or sculptors or whatever, they're all like teetering on the edge of madness. And to be the greatest, like you're not going to get exceptional from an ordinary mind. You're going to get exceptional from like a mind that is not like others. And that has
True.
light aspects and it has dark aspects. And if you are in an environment that nurtures the light aspect of that, you're going to get like some Einsteins, you're going to get some Picassos, you're going to get tragic stories that go along with that.
Hmm.
But it might not be as exposed back then as it is now with technology and social media.
Yeah.
Those downfalls, those painful moments, those
Mm.
loose cannon tweets are only going to be written down in a little journal,
Mm.
100
It's
years
so
ago.
easy to just send something on the internet.
100%.
It's so easy. Yeah,
And then
that's
it's
true.
forever.
Yeah.
Internet
Yeah.
never forgets.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty wild. Yeah, sometimes I feel like I'm a bit insane sometimes when I come up with the ideas and I'm like, or when I'm doing it. Like I did feel a bit insane doing the Abby Chatfield ones, but that was that.
They were so funny though. Like I genuinely was like, yes, this is really funny because it is the dichotomy that she speaks of. And I didn't even if I was Abby, I don't think I'd be offended. I think I would find it funny. I'd be like, okay, yeah,
That's what I thought. Especially
yeah.
the last one. I was like, I've gotten a wig. Like this has got to be funny to you right now.
Yeah, it's almost like complimentary. It's like, okay, I
Yeah,
listened, you know.
exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. I think like honestly, like no hate to her. She's obviously um
she's
got a large
successful in her
she's
own right, for
so
sure.
successful. She's got her own voice, all these things. So that's that. I just think
You can
yeah.
be like successful and you can not have hate towards someone, and you can also criticize or make fun of some other things that they do.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
think some things that she says are great. And I'm like, yeah, cool. Good for you.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can vehemently disagree with a whole bunch of other stuff that she says.
Mm.
And I'm like, I can actually hold the tension of the two opposites, and I'm okay with that. Like I'm not
Mm.
like I don't have to choose a side. You know
Mm.
what I mean? I don't have to be like for her or against her. I can just be like, I don't know her.
Mm.
And she's just another human. I don't wish her any ill will. And here's the things I agree with, and here's the things I don't agree with. I think this is kind of funny. And I think this is kind of sad.
Mm.
And I think this is kind of good. Whatever, you know?
Yeah.
It
100%.
doesn't have to be so black and white all the time.
Yeah. The black and white thinking, it's big.
Mm,
It's very big.
yeah.
But
I
yeah, I
just,
think,
sorry, you go.
you know, I was just gonna say like the black and white thinking is just because that's our survival. It's
Mhm.
survival state.
Yeah.
It's all or nothing, safety or not safe.
Yeah. Well, you have to be part of a community, because if
Yeah.
you're not a part of a community, it's really hard for an individual to survive in the world.
Mm,
No one can do this alone. You need someone. So to be ousted from your community by having a different opinion is actually genuinely scary, genuinely dangerous for your psyche.
mm,
Um, and I don't think people understand the human psyche that well, that they don't understand why they're behaving the way that they do, or why they
mm,
have these beliefs, or why they can't speak up, or, you know, or why they get so defensive about some things. Well, if we were all kind of taught in school, like how our brain works, and how, you know, tribalism works and all that kind of stuff, I think that would be very helpful for people to kind of reflect back upon themselves about, oh, I'm doing that thing again. It's okay,
mm,
I'm safe, you know, but it's just the animal inside me that's like freaking out right now, you
mm,
know.
100%. Yeah. A big thing for me lately has been just like doing a lot of shadow work and looking at what I feel really triggered by or what I feel like is a bad thing, and then being like, yeah, but that's me. That's me too.
Yeah,
And it's very hard to see sometimes. Very hard.
yeah, you got to get good people around you who are going to call you out in your shit.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Or just have those big moments where you see it right then and there and you're like, oh, yeah, fuck.
Yeah, doing that thing again that I do.
Yep, yep.
Yeah, I think when you also don't look at yourself in such black and white terms as well, like good or bad, when
Yeah.
you have compassion for yourself and where you were, and I just learning here, and I didn't know that, wasn't aware of that. Oh, now I'm aware. Now I have a choice,
Mm,
and now I can make a difference in the way that I behave or the way that I respond to something, because I have awareness now. Like that's always the first step.
mm,
But also just having compassion, that shit takes time. You're undoing like years and years of habitual behavior, unconscious habitual behavior, and to expect like, oh, okay, I know about it now, and so I can just like overnight change it. It's just not
mm,
possible.
mm.
I
Yeah.
had I had some really difficult conversations recently in my relationships, in my friendships. And I find in my life I'm either really going through it, or I'm like having a break where like nothing's going on, or I'm like deep in the work, you know?
Mm,
And I'm deep in it at the moment, and it's hard, and I don't want to do it because it's painful, it's uncomfortable,
mm,
it's yucky. But I find the more and more that I do it, the more and more liberated I get towards like accepting, myself wholly.
Mm.
And through accepting myself wholly, I'm accepting others wholly as well.
Yeah.
And that's like, that can only be a good thing. That can only lead to greater harmony.
Mm-hmm. 100%.
It's hard to
And
push through the shame though.
oh yeah, the shame. But yeah, it's very, very fucking what is it? It's like so heavy.
Yeah.
Shame is so heavy. It just weighs you down and then there's all the layers on top. But I was gonna say like I think we have this like fixation, maybe not everyone, but definitely I see it, maybe it's just what I see, but of this like tendency to fix ourselves and to like, okay, if I just work on that thing, then that'll be gone, that'll be
Yeah.
fixed. But actually sometimes the trauma or whatever that made us then become a certain way is how we're meant to be and it
Mm,
is authentic. And
mm.
the trauma we experienced was, or whatever the thing was that made us then become a certain way, yeah, just is going to
Who you
help us
are.
and it is who we are.
Mm,
Yeah. And it doesn't need to be like healed or,
mm,
whatever. Um, but there's a benefit to it.
mm.
Like there's some aspect to it that is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And then obviously there's going to be some, you know, darker parts to it, but it's like, yeah, but there is a gift.
100%. There's so much nuance. And then I think that's the thing, like in my, on my Instagram, I'm in like the masculinity, femininity realm. And I started speaking up about like the bullshit of that because I don't really think that you can be a woman and be in your masculine. I think they're just aspects of femininity that can be expressed healthily or unhealthily, or if you want to use different language, like maturely or immaturely. Like
Mm,
they're not necessarily bad things about you that you have to change. They're just like, are you using that to the best of your ability to help yourself and others? Or are you using it to like tear people down and keep yourself disconnected from love?
mm,
Like, do I really need to, like, it's the whole thing about like, don't be a boss babe, you're in your masculine, it's like, but, or maybe that's actually a really valuable attribute that a woman has
mm,
that can get her in so many places in life, or it could be used, that energy could be used for her children,
mm,
and it could be like when a mother's walking out on the street with her kids, she needs to have a certain like fuck off energy
mm,
around her so her and her children are protected.
mm,
That's not a bad thing. But if you're using it to completely disconnect from like your life and your friends and, to put your partner down and you're like, I don't care about anything but my career, unhealthy.
mm,
Unhealthy. You're disconnected from like how you feel about life because you're just like career, career, career. That's not healthy. If you're stuck in one of those aspects, even if it's like, the really like uber feminine girls, I call it the collapsed feminine, they used to really trigger me. I'd
mm.
see them all the time, like so helpless. I don't know how to do anything. I need a man to do everything for me. I'd be like, fucking get up. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, that used to be my biggest trigger. I'm like, oh God, these women drive me crazy. But there are aspects to that is so nice. And that is the receivership.
Mm.
It's so nice to just be like, yeah, I'd love it if you could open that jar for me. Like, I'd love it if you could hold the door open. Like,
Yeah.
even, I lean into that relationship, even with my dad now, where he's like, how's your car going? I'm like, oh, I'd love it if you could check that out for me. I don't want to have to worry about that. And you really love helping. So,
Yeah.
like, that's what a beautiful gift to both of us. I
Yeah.
get to give you the gift of like stepping in and feeling useful and feeling like you've helped your daughter and you enjoy it and you feel like a lot more calm about my safety because you've like checked over it. And then I get someone to look after my car and I don't have to worry about stuff that I really don't care about,
Mm.
rather than being like, no, it's fine, I got it, or leaning into it and not being good at anything ever and just needing help for everything all the time and being told what to do all the time. There's extremes, which are just unuseful. I think those, you don't really have to like change who you are. You just have to like find the healthiest version of yourself.
Mm. Yeah.
That's how I think of it anyway. I think
Yeah.
the nuance is missing. No one's really talking about the individual. I call it the bio individual. Like, I'm never going to be like you, and you're
Mm.
never going to be like me. Who you are is so wonderful and unique. You know, I can't think of the things that you think of that you put online. I'm like, that's hilarious and genius. I never would have thought like to do that or say that.
Oh, thank
It's
you.
just not, it's not in me, but that's okay. It doesn't make me bad and you good, or you bad and me good. It's just
Mm.
who we are. And I don't have to make myself like you to be a healthier version. You don't have to make yourself less like you to be a healthier version. It's just
Mm.
accepting who you are and finding the healthiest version for you, which no one else can tell you who that is.
Mm.
Not
Yeah.
me, not Abby, not Dan Andrews, no one.
Not me, not you,
Not
not
Hermione.
me.
That's what it is.
You.
Not me, not Hermione,
Yeah.
you.
Oh God, yeah. And that's the other thing is like I think that's a great self-awareness to also have is like when you like something in someone else and instead of being like, oh, how do I do it like them, which is coming from insecurity,
Yeah,
it's going, oh my God, I love what they're doing. I want what they have. What they're doing, there's something about it that I
yeah,
want.
yeah.
And the fact that you're even seeing it is like it's a part of you and there's something there for you, but you
Mm,
just have your own version of it. And like I I actually love when I see creators online or when I see comedians or whoever it is out in the world and I start to get that jealous feeling.
mm,
I'm like, oh, that's good. That's good
yeah,
because there's something there that's I'm telling myself I can't have that.
yeah.
I see something that I like, that I want, and there's a part of me that's like, no, you're not good enough for that. That's my
Mm,
stories. I'm not good enough. That's a real easy one that I fall into. But then when I start to see that or feel that jealousy, I'm like, ooh, we got some things here.
yeah.
But it's just showing me what I want, you know, and
I
it's
used
not
to
gonna
say that
look
in
like that.
relationships too, like jealousy just shows you that you care. It's how you
Yeah.
act on that feeling. Like feeling jealous is not particularly the problem. That's such a
No.
great signal. It's like, cool, I care about this thing. And there's something there that it's like, I feel uncomfortable in this situation. And let's look at why.
Yeah.
I love that you've like translated that into like your art. It's so true. Like that's inspiration in another
Yeah.
form.
Yeah. Inspiration. 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. And then why, yeah. And then you get to undo those stories. Like, why can't I have that? Why can't I do that? And what's my version of that that's going to make me, you know, have that thing that I really want from that
Yeah.
person?
Yeah. It's so interesting because from a very young age, I always dreamed of being a pop star and being on stage and
Me
singing
too.
and love that. That's so funny. But um it's funny that like what I was looking for was to be seen and to be
Yeah.
heard and to express myself
Yeah.
authentically. That's the thing. And it's okay to want to be seen and to be heard.
Yeah.
And actually, it's like a need that we all have.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's 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 very interesting when you start to delve into the beliefs of like, okay, I want this thing, but why do I feel like I'm not good enough here?
Mm.
Oh, because like when I was like 4, I remember my dad said this thing and then it made me feel like this.
Yeah. Yeah. 100% resonate
Yeah.
with all of that. I don't know how many times I got told to shut up when I was singing in my bedroom into a hairbrush, you know.
Oh my God, I love that.
But
Yeah.
it's I mean, but it's the people like us who now have Instagram accounts, right? Who can be seen and heard all the time. There's always an audience.
There is. And I think I've realized like it's mostly just expression
Yeah.
that once you start to feel that you are seen and heard, once you realize you're not lacking that and you are in fact seen and heard,
Mm,
um, and you have every right to be and you deserve it and you're worthy of it and all of that, then those kind of needs are like already met, and then there is a need for expression of
Mm.
who you are authentically, and you can express that in any way. But I think that's when the authentic path comes and
Yeah.
like what you're here to do. Then it's like, okay, I have this expression. How does it want to come out? Okay, it wants to come out this way, this way, this way, this way. And it could be one way forever. It could be like, yeah, I'm going to be a comedian my whole life. That's the way it's going to be. Or it could be like, I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do this. And that's okay.
Yeah.
I think it can be however it wants to be.
Yeah. That's me, manifesting generator. Like lots
Well,
of
there we go. Me
different,
too. Yeah.
yeah. Lots of different ones there. It's
Yeah.
but I quite like the journey of like rediscovering myself in different things
Mm.
and different parts of me. Like I feel quite fulfilled by things. I'm like, okay, I've really like let myself go into that and I've really expressed that. And now that's done.
Yeah.
Now I have something else. And education for me has always been like a really big thing. Like I really enjoy it. I enjoyed learning and I enjoy like teaching. But I never felt good enough to teach for so long. I was like, oh, I don't know anything about anything. And I still don't know anything about anything. But then when I got old enough, I realized no one knows anything about anything and we're all just winging it. And that made me feel a lot better. I was like, oh, cool. I can wing it too. If we're all winging it, then oh, fuck, I can do that. Yeah, shit.
Yeah.
Get on the internet and say whatever I like.
Love that. Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
really helps.
Yeah.
But
What's
one
your
day,
human design profile?
I, heretic and investigator.
I don't know. What numbers are those?
That's the question I can't answer. I think it's a
Okay.
1-8,
One
maybe
eight. Okay. All right.
one
Cool.
seven, 1-8. I actually don't know. Then I'm not well versed on the human design. I would say human design is the thing that I'm least versed on. Everything else, I'm like got a good
Yeah,
handle on it.
yeah.
Like I'm Enneagram 8. I know that one.
Oh, okay. I never got into the Enneagram. I didn't like it. Didn't like it. But I like human design and astrology.
Yeah.
Didn't like Gene Keys. It was a bit too flowery for me.
I haven't got into gene keys much. I don't really know much about it,
Yeah, fuck
to
it.
be honest. There's so many things, but I find all of that stuff very useful
Mm,
um, in ways to understand myself
yeah.
and then work on myself. Like I don't really necessarily have a big identity attachment to like I made fun of it the other day on my online because someone in the human design world they asked chat gpt to write an unhinged version of all the different profiles and the manifesting generator was like talking about how everyone else is a peasant and they know the best. And one of the names that people in my on my Instagram page had suggested to be the name for my podcast was Listen Up Peasants. And so it was like on the top contender. I was like, do I just keep it a woman refined or do I call it Listen Up Peasants, which I thought was freaking hilarious and
I
is
think that's hilarious too.
totally one aspect of my personality. And it got very highly voted. People were like, yeah, do it. It's hilarious. And I thought, oh,
What?
it kind of puts me in more of a box of like what I can talk about, I guess. So there's like now it's a little bit more open. So, but it's so funny that then the
That's
uh
that's the
the
unhinged version.
yeah, chat gpt even agrees, like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love that. I love that there's an aspect of me that thinks that they're better than everybody else.
I didn't know that about manifesting generators.
Well, I think because we do so many things, we're like, why
Yeah.
can't you do all the things that I'm doing? What do you mean you have to do one thing at a time? What's wrong with you? Like, come on. And then I'm an Enneagram 8 as well, who's just like, I know how to do things. And if you want something done, get out of the way. I'll do it. And
I think
then
I think I might
stellium
be
in
eight as
Aquarius.
well.
So Aquarius,
Yeah.
highly intellectual, like totally a bit removed from the human emotion and the human experience. And it's
Mm.
just like, doesn't everybody think this way? I don't understand You're not all on the same level? Oh, okay, cool. I'll just be over here on my little high horse thinking I know everything.
You probably do though. Like that's
Well, see, and then you go into like the therapy stuff, and I'm like, okay, hyper intellectualism is like a
yeah.
trauma response from your childhood where it wasn't safe to be wrong. So you had to know all the things so you didn't get in trouble, like,
Yeah.
and that's cool. But it's also just really fun to make fun of myself and be like, what a wanker.
Yeah, yeah. But even like, I don't know, sometimes I don't get around therapy talk. Like, I don't know. Like, I've been to therapy, I've done a lot of EMDR and all that, but like,
Oh, that's fun.
yeah,
I couldn't stop
EMDR.
laughing.
Really? Couldn't stop
Yeah.
crying.
Oh, see, everyone says that. And I was like, I just couldn't get past the laughing stage. I thought it was hilarious. And she was like, this is great. This is so great. I was like, okay.
This is great while writing down absolutely psychotic.
Yeah. Unhinged.
Yeah, unhinged. She won't stop laughing. Medicate.
Yeah, 100%. This is so great.
So great.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
I have six friends who are psychotherapists.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I collect them all like
Wow.
Pokemon. I really like to make sure that I have surround myself with people who keep me in check.
Yeah, that's probably healthy.
Well,
Yeah.
someone obviously with megalomaniac tendencies who thinks they're better than everybody else, it's probably necessary.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ah. And a lot of Cancerians. Like I literally have three people in my life who are all born on the same day.
Really?
Yeah, some even on the same year,
I
same
don't
day,
know if
same year.
I'm not usually around Cancerians.
What are you?
I'm a Sag,
Ah,
but I have like six signs in Scorpio.
ah,
Yeah.
that's why you're not afraid.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, Cancerians, I don't know. I did date one and yeah, don't know about that.
Look, I don't always enjoy the Cancerians. I mean, it's almost the opposite to the Aquarian. They're so emotional about everything all the time, and I'm just
Yeah.
I don't get it. I'm like, okay, but um, they're good. I found they're good for me in that
Yeah,
way. They
yeah.
kind of balance me out. They keep me grounded, and I also help them kind of see things from a different perspective. I think as well.
Mm. Supposedly Taurus is meant to help me, but
Yeah,
I don't meet many Taurus people.
maybe they're too afraid of you.
Maybe. Maybe. I don't know. I meet a lot of I have a lot of like people with Virgo because my moon is in Virgo, so I always come across Virgos or
Ah,
Leos. Leos are
yeah,
when I meet a Leo, I'm just like instantly good friends.
I got a Leo moon.
Ah,
So yeah, Leo moon, and then I have a Capricorn ascendant,
um,
Mars in Scorpio, and then everything else in Aquarius, basically.
wow, yeah.
Sun, Venus, Mercury, Aquarius.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wait, what's a stellium? Is that how many
it's
is that?
four. So I
Four.
think it's also my Jupiter or my Neptune.
Oh,
Can't
okay.
remember. It's in Aquarius as well. So yeah, it's unusual.
Have you ever looked at like astrocartography?
Yes,
That's fun.
and I don't really have anywhere that I feel like, yes, that
Yeah,
makes
right.
sense. Unfortunately, I get a lot of in the middle of the ocean. Like,
Well, you could be on a boat. What's never say never.
like, have you got America in yours?
I do. I
Do you?
do.
Particularly
Yeah.
Austin?
Yeah. Yeah. My Venus line's straight through it.
That's so oh,
Oh,
Venus
oh,
line, Venus
oh.
line. Maybe the marriage is in the charts.
And I think my something else is going through it as well. Can't remember.
That's
Um,
interesting.
and I have one through LA as well. I had one through Byron. I think I can't remember what it was. And I think my Pluto was through Melbourne. So that's like
That's
all,
lessons, isn't it?
all the transformation, all the
Mm.
transformation.
Like, thanks, I'm done transforming now. I'm gonna
I'm
jet.
done.
Yeah.
Melbourne, yeah. Melbourne. I think it's a transformation for anyone. I don't know.
Yeah. Just navigating your transport system for me is a transformational process. I'm like,
I've,
I don't know what's
I've,
going on. Why do I have to go in the left lane to turn right? I don't understand
oh,
what's happening.
that's only the city.
It's very confusing. Anyways, all right, we've been chatting now for like an hour and a half. We should probably wrap it up. But
Mm,
I'm
good
excited
chats.
now. I thanks. I've enjoyed having a chat too. Um,
Mm,
I am looking forward to seeing what happens for you when you go to
mm.
Austin.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited to see. I don't know what's going to happen with my content. It'll probably change because your environment impacts you so
Mm,
much. But I don't know. I'm going to try and do a lot of stand up and we'll see see what happens.
that's amazing. I think that's so brave.
Thank you. Thank you. People keep saying that.
Yeah, because it's terrifying. It's terrifying to put yourself out there, you
You know
know?
what, though? It works out. I cannot believe any time I have an instance where I need to take a or I take a plunge,
Mm,
I move to Byron. Now I'm moving for a bit to Austin. I'm always supported. Like things
yeah,
work out. All the things that you're scared of just fucking work out. Like one of the things I was like, oh, I've got to get accommodation. I've got to have a place. I
no, you
think I
don't.
no, no, I'll be homeless. It's fine. But yeah, I found a place and I've got the lease for like, yeah, the whole time I'm there. And literally the woman that I'm taking over the lease for, she's traveling to kind of make her dreams possible in South Africa. And we're literally just like swapping places.
Perfect.
Um, yeah, just perfect. And then like, yeah, everything always works out when you take a plunge.
I tell you from personal experience, you don't even have had to have accommodation. I went to Europe by
She actually meant
myself.
that.
Yeah, I went to Europe solo. I'd never really traveled before and I didn't know anyone. I flew into Paris. I had no no accommodation.
You didn't book anything.
Well, because people my whole life had told me that I was like a control freak and I was like too organized and that I never like just let life happen and have fun. I was like, all right, let's go then. Yeah, like I like a challenge. I like to self-reflect. So
You are ballsy.
I booked a ticket one way. I had dual citizenship, so I could kind of do what I wanted. So I was lucky
Right.
with that. I flew into Paris and ended up sleeping at some lady's house that was like a woman who my ex-partner had hooked up with when he was in Paris like years ago.
Oh
I
my
was
God, I
just
love
sleeping on
that.
her couch and we're still friends today. She's a great lady. Sonia, shout out to Sonia. She's, yeah.
Go, Sonia.
She let me stay with her in Paris. I mean, I had the best time. And then I didn't know what was going on. And I got on a bus and went to Barcelona and very, very ill, like the sickest I've ever been in my life on that bus to Barcelona. And I had no accommodation when I got there. And my parents were like, hey, it's your 30th birthday. What do you want? And I was like, a hotel room. So they booked me a hotel room. And I was like, sweet. I got off the bus, went to the hotel. They're like, oh, we don't check in until 2 p.m. It was 6 a.m. She didn't speak English. I didn't speak Spanish. And I was just like, please, like, please, I'm so sick. And she just upgraded my room to a suite. And I had a suite. I'm telling you, you're so right. Stuff just works out.
Yes, that's amazing.
You know, I ended up living over in Europe for a year and I loved it. And I had no plans going there. I had no plans to come home. I was like, I'm going to prove everyone wrong. Like, I did it and it was the best and worst thing that ever happened to me. Like, your whole life is going to collapse when you go over there.
Oh
And I mean
yeah.
that in the best way.
Oh
It
yeah.
will, because it has to. You have to shift. You have to be like fluid and open to burning down whoever you used to be in order to become who you need to be. So it
100%.
will be really, really painful, but it will be the best and worst thing that ever happened to you. And you'll come out of it like infinitely better.
Mm.
Imagine if you just stayed here and didn't do it. You would never grow. You would just be who you are now. And who wants to be that? Like, you're going to be incredible when you go over there, and wherever you go from there,
Mm.
it's going to be incredible. It's going to be amazing. I can't wait.
It's gonna be
I can't wait to
amazing.
see your content.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, can't wait. Can't wait.
Very
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, look, tell people where they can find you if they want to find you and they want to follow your journey.
Just Instagram, Lisa Jane Spencer, or TikTok is it's Lisa Jane Spencer. That's where you can find me.
And soon to the Comedy Store in Austin.
Yeah.
What is
Hopefully my dream is to go and kill Tony. So if I get on it, well, I'm gonna get on it. I'm gonna get on it. When I get on it, I will post everywhere that I was on it.
excellent?
And
That
everyone will know that I was on it.
you heard it
Okay.
here first, people. Kill Tony. Lisa Spencer on Kill Tony. I like it.
I love it. I love the show. So yeah.
Well, we'll hold that vision for you collectively.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming on and having a chat. I really appreciate it. And
Thank you.
maybe when you get back, we'll have another one and see how you went.
That would be great.
All right. I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.